What's happening, sports fans? Trent the Great talking that sport-ish on my little show here. And I'm here to talk about a question that's been plaguing America for a long time. And that is, are the Dallas Cowboys America's team? Now, I can answer that question with one word a few times. No, no, no. First off, America's team is the New England Patriots, led by Bill Belichick, who in his era has led them to 9 Super Bowls and has won it 6 times. And they are anchored down by the greatest quarterback of all times, at least in some people's eyes, Tom Brady. Now, the Patriots, they represent winning and they represent champions. And that's what America is. Now, with all America's faults, from slavery to Jim Crow to segregation to racism to classism, all the way down to sexism, America is still the greatest country in the world because it's the freest country in the world. You know, you had your first black president. You got gay rights. Women running for office. Ain't too many other places in the world that you could do that. And you can make as much money as you want because we're a capitalist society. Now, with all that being said, America is synonymous with success, which is the complete opposite of the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys like to live in the past, you know, but it's like that old saying goes, if you live in the past, you're doomed to repeat it. Well, that ain't so for the Cowboys. That's so much, even though they live in the past, because they live in the past, but they don't enjoy the success that they had in the past. You know what I'm saying? But you can't tell a Cowboys fan that. You can't tell them that at all. They want to argue you down no matter where you at. You could be in church and they want to argue down about how the Cowboys are going to win the Super Bowl. But I'll get on that later or some other time. Now, I'm going to do the Cowboys a solid, and I'm going to talk about the pros first. You know? Starting with Dak Prescott. He's efficient, he's reliable, he's durable, which means he don't really get hurt a lot, and he's clutch. You know, he done way more than Tony Romo has, and he done led them to the playoffs 3 times. I think in his 4 years with 14 game winning drives. And he deserves his money. So the Cowboys need to pay that man. He done done his part. He done took them from mediocrity to the playoffs, you know, even though they're still mediocre. Next is my man Amari Cooper, who got traded from the Raiders. Amari got a mundane personality, low-key, no distractions on and off the field, and his play sometimes emulates that, because one game, he might go off for 100, $150, 2, or even more. For 2 or 3 games, he lighten up the league. Then he go dormant. You don't hear nothing from him. He quiet, and you like, damn, he's still on the team, or did they trade him? But that's reminiscent. I mean, excuse me, that's how his personality is. And then you got the offensive line, who led by Tyron Smith, who's a 6-time Pro Bowler, and Zach Smith, who been there 5 times. And they got some stars on there. They got some beasts. They had 2 running backs who led the league in rushing since they had the formation of that line, which was DeMarco Murray and Ezekiel Elliott. Now you got the return of Jason Witten. He gonna help out Dak, even though he's slow as a snail, but he gonna give Dak some security. You know, just like he did before he retired. And last, and certainly not least, is the bell cow of the offense. Hailing from Ohio State, Ezekiel Elliott. Now, Zeke has had the most touches since he's been in the league. And he's led the league in rushing 2 out of the last 3 years. And like I said on one of my previous videos, Zeke, he would have led the league in rushing. Only reason he didn't lead the league in rushing because he got suspended for them 6 games. At least that's what it looked like, because Zeke is is durable too for as many touches as he gets. He doesn't get hurt anyway. Just like Dak doesn't. Now on to the defense. They got Pro Bowler DeMarcus Lawrence and budding stars Vander Esch, the tackling Dutchman, and my man, that violent Jalen Smith, who will hurt you and put you out the game if you ain't looking. And you also got Sean Lee, who's a force when he's healthy, but he kind of on the bench now due to the stellar player Vander Esch. And they led by the defensive coordinator Chris Richards, who formed the legendary Legion of Boom with Richard Sherman and Ed Thomas and all them cats. So all in all, them the pros for the Cowboys. And if you look at it, as the pros, they are well-rounded team. Now let's get to the cons. And it's a whole gang of them. First off, they live in the past. The Cowboys do. Their ego is inflated, and they get too high when they get on the road. You see, they win a few games, and then we really going to the Super Bowl. Not that they going to the Super Bowl. We gonna win the Super Bowl, as I've said before. You can't do that in the NFL. In the NFL, you have to be even keel, and you see, that is a significant difference between winners and losers. Winners and losers in the NFL. And with the Cowboys, they're the latter because they always get on too high of a roll. And that also is why the Patriots are also always in the Super Bowl like every other year, because you never hear them talking about it. When they get there, they get there. They're like, oh, they don't even talk about how they won the Super Bowl after they won the Super Bowl. But the Cowboys talking about how they gonna win the Super Bowl, and they ain't been there since the 90s. Also, they got a meddlesome owner who has his own radio talk show. God damn, I'm like this. Don't y'all think it's a distraction with everything else you got to deal with? From the expectations to the fans, to the media, and then you gotta worry about your boss calling you out after the game. Hell, he might call you out before the game, But in lately, he's kind of taking a step back and letting his son Stephen run things. But he still is the boss, and the buck still stops with Jerry Jones. So don't get it twisted. You know what I'm saying? Because when the game is over, he the first one getting interviewed. He ain't put on no pads. He ain't played a lick. He ain't ran no ball, caught no pass, threw no ball. Hell, he probably ain't served no water. But he the first one getting interviewed. And then they wonder why they always live in mediocrity. Well, you get what you put out. Like I say, man, the expectations are always too high. They always going to the Super Bowl. And it's like this. They bypass on winning a few games and getting on a roll or winning the division. Oh, yeah, just getting to the playoffs. They talk about that, but it's always after. They say, well, we're going to win the Super Bowl. It's always win the Super Bowl first. Like I said before, New England doesn't do that. New England does not do that. That is typical Cowboy-ish. Next is Jason Garrett. Jason Garrett's a nice guy. Seems like, a pretty decent fella. But this the NFL. You damn near gotta be cutthroat. And really, he's not a true head coach. He's a glorified offensive coordinator who just kind of got pushed into the head coaching position. I think it was they wanted Wade out. Hell, they was paying Jason Garrett. He was the offensive coordinator, and I think Wade Phillips was the head coach, and he was making more than the head coach. I mean, goddamn, so they wanted him in there. And look what they've got. Mediocrity. But I'm the Dallas Cowboys. And he has he does nothing. I mean, he hasn't won anything, and all he does is clap. and he don't make the necessary in-game adjustments. So I can't look at the Cowboys as being America's team. That's just typical Cowboy-ish. And last but not least, why the Cowboys are not America's team, it is the fans. It is the unrealistic expectations, the views the Cowboys fans, and it is just crazy and it's unreal. It's almost like the Cowboys fans are hypnotized or they drugged or they under some mass hysteria. I don't know. But all I know is the same thing when you talk to, we're going to the Super Bowl. We're going to the Super Bowl. Get out my house. Whatever. I ran into a classmate in the store a while back. It was good to see her. She had her back turned. She was talking. We exchanged pleasantries. And then she turned around and I saw she was pregnant. So I was like, oh, that's great. Then I looked and saw she had on a Dallas Cowboys jersey. I said, you know what? She said, what? I said, I'm going to call CPS on you. She said, why? I said, for child endangerment. She said, why is my child endangered? He ain't born yet. I said, because he ain't even born and you subjecting that child to mediocrity and danger wearing that Cowboys jersey. You need to be ashamed of yourself and you probably need to be stripped of your parental rights. And I mean, it was all in good fun and whatnot, but I was serious. But that's just another example of the ridiculousness, just the mass hysteria that's going on with the Cowboys fans. It is unreal, and it makes no sense. But, hey, that's how it is, and I hope it keep going because I have a ball talking about it. It makes my day to watch them lose. You know what I'm saying? Especially they fans. But all they do is hedge their bets. All they do is say, oh, well, we're going to win the Super Bowl. Oh, next year we're going to win the Super Bowl. Now, if you say it's going to rain every day, eventually it's going to rain, right? So if you made a bet that it's going to rain, you're going to win that bet. Well, this is what they do. Well, I say like this. The Cowboys fans gonna say they're gonna win the Super Bowl for the next so many years. Well, I hope it's 5,662 days before they win it, because I'll be dead and buried. You know what I'm saying? And that's probably the next time that they will win it, because they ain't winners. They are nothing more than a mediocre team led by a mediocre owner with a mediocre coach. Now, with that being said, I'm going to say like this. The question was, are the Dallas Cowboys America's team? And once again, my answer is no, no, no. It is the New England Patriots. And any Cowboys fan that got a problem with it, oh well, look at your history in the past 25 years. You ain't won shit. Now, with that being said, man, I'm Trent the Great. I'm talking that sport-ish. F the Cowboys. And I'm out. 1.